there's not enough information out there as to how to test a gear when buying a used car. And because there is not just enough information out there as to how to test the gear, because if you try to test the gear, people test the gear by what they see and test driving it to know how the car moves, and that is not really enough to tell if this gear is okay or not, especially when you're buying a used car. The gear is not something you can open to see the internal component. So when buying a used car, how can you tell if this car has been roughly used? So this works like almost all the time, because when a gear is get worse, you know, internally, the gear might drive, you know, but because you're not staying with this car like for a long time, so you cannot easily tell the behavior of this car, on a long run and on different circumstances. So I want to show you or tell you this method that you can use to quickly test if the gear has been roughly used. Among everything that you're going to check, so this is one method that you don't want to skip. So you must do this to check for wear in the internal component. So first, this starts from how your gear engages. So most people, when after driving their vehicle and they want to park that vehicle, they don't allow this car to come to a complete stop before they engage the vehicle into park. You know, though some people, you know, pay attention to this, but if someone is a rough user, a rough driver, or you're somebody who leave the car for kids to play with, or you're someone who leave the car for people who don't really understand what to do or how to actually even stop a car. So they will make some of these mistakes. Now, to understand this method, you have to understand how to properly park your vehicle. When you're driving an automatic transmission vehicle, you must come to a complete stop with your leg brake or with your handbrake. The vehicle must come to a complete stop, and then you engage your handbrake and before shifting your vehicle into park. But some people don't pay attention to this method. They go ahead and wedge the vehicle with the park. They stop the vehicle with the park. And here you will notice that sometimes when you shift the vehicle into park, that vehicle don't just stop immediately. The vehicle kind of like lodges a little bit forward before the vehicle stops. So over time, when people continue to do this, so when you shift this vehicle into park, a small component called the parking plow shifts into position and engages with the parking gear. So that is what stops the parking gear. So when at that point where the vehicle doesn't just stop immediately and where it's them to lodge forward, especially when you're somewhere slopey or somewhere very smooth, at that point that parking plow or pin does not really enter into that gear. At that point there it's always that gear has slight some millimeter of space on it. So if it doesn't engage into that gear as such when you shift into park, so that vehicle tend to lodge forward to allow the rotation of that gear to engage into the parking gear. So over time, when people continue to use this bad parking behavior on their vehicle, this parking plow washes off, or brushes off, and you see that that vehicle does not really get to park or get to stop. Even when you park it, it moves more than normal. It doesn't even stop. Like when you put it in park, you park kind of like is, you see it shaky. You see it at that point, you see it shaky. You see it trying to still roll more than an inch. Like it, you know, you need the brake to even stop it. So at that point, you should know that that gear has been roughly used, and then you need to pay close attention, because even if this component is broken, this gear will still shift normal, still drive normal, will still move normal. But what this shows you is that this vehicle has been roughly used, and several times that gear has been stopped in a rough way, and something is probably broken. Either the parking plow is probably washed off or broken, or the gear is washed off or even eaten up or broken. So that is a sign that you want to reconsider how much you want to pay for this vehicle. Now you need to renegotiate and draw the attention. So thank you for checking this out, and I know that this video has been very informative. What I've noticed is that a lot of you who watch my videos are not subscribers. So do well to subscribe and like this video if you want to continue to expand your knowledge on gear and other electrical components on vehicles. See you next time.